Hey mates, and welcome to Blindformers. I'm your host Blind Prime, and I'm joined today by my co-host Sugar the Potato Cat. Good Sugar. Go over there. Today's video is going to be about Transformers Studio Series 86 Shockwave. 86 Shockwave is a Transformer that's recently come out, and it's got a unique aspect to it, in that you can actually turn it into a shoulder cannon for the Transformers Age of the Primes Bruticus. Now, when we complete Bruticus, we're going to be talking about Studio Series 86 Shockwave in his shoulder cannon form and trying to figure out how do we attach him. But today's video, I'm going to discuss how to turn him into his spaceship mode and also how to turn him into his sci-fi gun mode, or at least, the ways that I believe it should be transformed because, I'm blind, I can't read the instructions. So today's video, you're going to experience what I think the transformation should be like and what I figured out about it. If you're wondering what you found here, it's Blindformers. We raise awareness to the blind and visually impaired through alternative means and methods, and this is including to, but not limited to, Transformers. And also verbal transformation explanation videos for those of you out there who cannot read the instruction manual for whatever reason. I'm here to assist you verbally, step by step. But first, let's do a short little review where we'll do some size comparisons, and I'll talk about the pros and cons of this mold versus the old mold. Okay, first and foremost, let's bring out the smallest of the Transformers in the deluxe line. The Transformers Earthrise Cliff Jumper. Yay, little bitty Cliff Jumper. So we're going to turn Cliff Jumper around so that his face is facing, and I don't know if I can show that on camera. Because Cliff Jumper's head is just not in a good spot. No, bad Cliff Jumper. I don't want to get shadow banned on YouTube, so Cliff Jumper, go away. So here they are side by side. The top of Cliff Jumper's head goes to the top of the thigh area for just above Shockwave's thigh. Nice little, just Cliff Jumper is half of Shockwave. Shockwave is 2 Cliff Jumpers tall. Now we're going to put Earthrise Cliff Jumper off to the side, and I'm really excited about there being a new Cliff Jumper from Studio Series. That's going to be fun. We're definitely talking about that when it happens. Here is Liege Maximo from Age of the Primes. I figured I'd compare Shockwave to a Transformer that's obviously like a prequel to Shockwave. Like this guy's got Shockwave vibes. And I think Liege Maximo is totally, Shockwave is a descendant of Liege Maximo. And here we go. Shockwave, the top of his head, goes midway up the chest of Liege Maximo. And Liege Maximo can actually raise his arm and put it over Shockwave's shoulder. Shockwave is definitely a lot lighter than Liege Maximo. Liege Maximo is a heavy Transformer. But Liege Maximo also has a cannon arm for his left arm, just like Shockwave. And there's a little comparison of the evolution of the cannon arms over the years, I guess. I just think that's kind of fun, and I like Liege Maximo and Shockwave compared to each other, because they're both the connivers. In Transformers, I am more terrified of Shockwave and Liege Maximo than I of anything else, because you don't know when they're going to strike. They're planners. They sit there and plan and plan and plan, and then they make the plans happen, and you're just like, what's going on? And that's Shockwave and Liege Maximo. Terrifying. If they ever got together and came up with evil plans, it would be a really, really scary issue of Transformers for sure. So then they'd end up fighting each other because, they're both, they both are very independent. So anyway, back to Shockwave. So the more comparisons, I actually have Onslaught here. That's what I knocked over with my elbow. So here's Onslaught, and Onslaught is a good... Is it Onslaught? Yeah, Age of the Primes Onslaught. Here we go. We're going to compare them. The top of Shockwave's head actually goes to the collarbone for Onslaught here. And Onslaught is, of course, the leader of the Combaticons. He was the commander class. And he definitely has the weight on Shockwave. But there's a nice little comparison of their shoulders. Onslaught's shoulders aren't very much taller than Shockwave's shoulders. So finally, we have Nexus Prime. I figured why not compare him to another Voyager, and that Voyager being Nexus Prime from Age of the Primes. We're going to put them face to face because I think Nexus Prime is a good Voyager all in all, like weight-wise and stuff like that. And they're about the same height, and weight-wise, they're actually about the same weight, though Nexus Prime has a little more weight to him than Shockwave. So now, let's get to the pros and cons. Pros about Shockwave are he feels great in the hand. They did a wonderful job with smoothing down all the textures and giving him a glossy feel. This guy feels like how I remember him from the show, and I really hope he's got the colorations of that from the show. Pros, I really like the ratcheted knees. Ratcheted knees are always fun. I just wish they had also included some ratchets in the shoulders. But you can do a lot with ratcheted knees that you necessarily couldn't do with regular knees, and ratchets really help keep that knee joint sturdy over the years. Though, like I said, kind of wish they had done something with the thighs there. And now he does have thigh swivel, and he's got a lot of other aspects when it comes to the way he moves. He's got most everything you expect from a modern age Transformers toy when it comes to articulation. He even has an insane up on his shoulders where he can go almost 180 degrees with his shoulders because of transformation, and also 180 degrees with his shoulders if you were to rotate them. So he can just raise his arm up all the way. That's just fun. Now, another negative to him is that I don't think that he's the right size. I think he should be a little taller, but that's not sure. So that's more of a nitpick than a negative. I like the way he feels in the hand. I like all the aspects of his robot mode just about. I think it would have been fun to get a double jointed elbows in here, kind of just give him a little bit of an oomph when it came to his articulation, and also give him a hand that opens and shuts so we can have him typing away at a computer, and giving him an accessory of like a computer or something. That would have also been fun, because you usually see him standing at a podium or something to manage the teleporter array. So the space bridge. So you could have given him a space bridge control panel, and I think that would have been a wonderful extra accessory, seeing as the only accessory he comes with is this Shockwave gun. Now, it is a gun that represents Shockwave, so now if you get this figure, you can have a Shockwave gun, and you can have a Megatron gun. And my Siege Starscream is currently holding the Shockwave guns, or Megatron gun, somewhere over there, and I am going to give most likely Skywarp the Shockwave gun, because purple and purple, it just makes sense. I think Shockwave's purple. Anyway, let's so final grade when it comes to robot mode. I'm gonna have to give this guy's robot mode an A. This is definitely an A worthy robot mode. It doesn't hit the S because I think it could have had a little bit. It could have had a little bit more, but overall, great robot mode for a Transformer. Now, let's get into today's transformation without further ado. Now, the one thing I like to start this transformation off with, in addition to taking off his gun, is for his transformation, we're actually going to put the gun in here, so we can actually store his gun to make the transfer, before we even really transform him. No, we can't. Now that I remember that step. So first what we do is grab his backpack and pull his backpack backwards. There we go. And you just kind of got this thing hanging out back there. Next step, come around here to his front and use your, pull on the head a bit, and pull around the chest area. What I find best is grab your thumb and forefinger and kind of pinch that chest and pull down and forwards. And the entire front of his chest is going to fold down towards his crotch area, and you're going to fold his head backwards into his chest until it snaps into place. You'll hear it click. Then you're going to fold that chest back, and that's how you handle that little assembly. Next step is we're going to take this backpack and fold it across where the head was. So there we go. Backpack is folded across the head. Now we're going to come in here with our fingers, and we're just going to split this backpack. There it goes. So there's these big holes in the back underside of the backpack, like big jet packs, I imagine. You want to pull those away from the hinge. And what that's going to do is open this backpack up and allow these arms to fold into it. So next step, raise the arms to that crazy articulation point I mentioned earlier. I forgot to deattach the hose. Don't forget to deattach the hose. Now raise those arms all the way up to the sky. Next step, rotate them around until the extreme flat part of the arm is facing the other extreme flat part of the arm. That means that both of the siege ports on this transformer should be facing the same way as his backpack hinge, where his backpack folded away. And that means that these spots on the sides that have kind of a rougher texture to them should be facing out on each side of your Shockwave. Now we're going to bring the backpack up and we're going to sandwich the arms inside of it, and making sure those siege ports are both facing upwards, and it's going to kind of snap down in. There we go. And we've got a completed upper section. Now, interestingly enough about this upper section, you can kind of rotate it down a bit if you want, but I advise don't push it. The backpack doesn't feel like it's made out of the best plastic. Oh, there we go. And it always has a bit of a bend in it, and I sometimes wonder if I'm just transforming it wrong, but I try to transform it the other way, and the backpack even has a harder time coming into place. So, whatever. Transform it whichever way you feel froggy. Next step, we're going to come down here to the legs, and we're going to collapse the legs in on themselves. So we're going to grab this panel on the back of the leg. Actually, before we do that, let's split his legs apart, like he's doing the splits. Then rotate each leg independently at the thigh rotation. Now we're going to come in here to the inside of the leg and pull this panel out that was once the outside of the leg. Then we're going to come to the other leg and we're going to pull that panel out too. And these panels and these legs are going to combine together, but not yet. Not until we come up here to the thigh area. And we're going to collapse the entire upper leg into the lower leg. That's a common transformation aspect that we find a lot in Transformers. So you'll notice that about this guy. He does a lot of common things. So we're going to fold each of those pieces down and in, and then they're going to combine together with the little command section. And that's going to be kind of a cool little fun command station. Oh, I accidentally turned it into trigger mode, and I didn't want to do that. So we'll talk about that mode in a second. But first, we're going to fold this piece up and down. And that's going to go right into a little hole section that's right below this center, the chest piece for your Shockwave, and make it into this really neat kind of command deck for a spacecraft. Like I imagine him making himself bigger to accommodate that. And you bring the hose, and we're going to attach the hose up here to the command deck that we made. And as soon as we find the siege port, there it is. All right, so we're just going to put that right. Come here, come here. Yeah. Sometimes these things are hard to feel. There it is. All right. There we go. And we've got ourselves a crazy cool spaceship. I think it's a neat little spaceship, and I like the fact that you can fold this little siege port out from the underside of the backpack, and then it folds at a right angle, and it makes a big old landing skiff. So you can just sort of land this guy down. And that's just really fun. I like the fact that he lands. I like that he does that. And he is a really cool sci-fi mode. So for this transformation, I'm going to have to give it a B. Like, it does a lot of things that we've seen a lot of in Transformers. There's nothing crazy. There's no part of this transformation that makes you go, wow. It's intuitive, that's for sure. But it doesn't really make a straight guy unless I did transform those arms upside down, in which case it will be straight. And but the transformation, in my opinion, was a bit too simple. And I think that I always grade my transformations based on complexity and fun and intuitiveness. Like if it's a transformation that can be figured out in about an hour, and it's got multiple steps to it, and you had fun doing it, that's a good S-rank transformation in my opinion. Now, this is a fun transformation, but it's not a complex transformation, so it doesn't really get my mind a-working. Anyway, moving on to this fun little spaceship mode. So the spaceship is actually really neat. I think the change in the textures for this transformer did make it feel a lot better. Oh, I forgot one last step. So his gun here actually can come down here and plugs in. You'll find the port that's usually used to plug your flight stands in, and that's right around the hip area. So we can use the siege peg on the underside of the gun, and it goes in there, and the back of the gun goes between these two little slots that are right above his butt. And then we're going to move the rest of the gun down here between the arm sections, and that's going to just add a little extra layer of stability for this transformation. This vehicle mode, I'm going to give it a B as well. It's not the vehicle mode I was hoping for. I was really hoping that they would have found a way to, change this transformation up a bit more, maybe give him treads, because the vehicle mode that I remember was him being a crazy big anti-aircraft weaponry thing. I always thought of it as something like a planetary defense weapon. It's just a giant artillery placement on treads that shoots incoming spaceships, because the whole thing was if the Autobots ever tried to get back to Cybertron, Shockwave was going to shoot them down. And this is not that. So that's why I think this vehicle mode deserves a B. Overall, I do believe that this is a great Transformer if you can find him on the shelves. And I believe that if you don't have a Shockwave in your collection, I don't think we're going to get a better one. I may be eating those words, in a year's time, but for now, I think this is the best we're getting for another 5 or 6 years. I mean, it's been about 5 or 6 years since the Siege Shockwave came out, so we're looking at like a Shockwave every 5 years, and hopefully the next one really, really leans heavy on that. But I think they're really going to move towards making different versions of Shockwave. This may be our last chance for a G1 Shockwave for a while. Maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, finally, before I call out this video, I'm going to show you how to transform this guy into his gun mode, which isn't very hard. All you have to do is just bend these legs down. So you're going to disconnect the legs from each other, and they're just going to we got to disconnect the trigger section piece, and these legs are going to fold down. And this is a little bit of a difficult thing to transform. He does not like going into pistol mode. And that is kind of a shame. So we're just going to bend it at the thigh down. So you bend it 90 degrees at the thigh. And then you're just going to do the same with this guy over here. Bend him 90 degrees down at the thigh. And this guy gets bent down at the thigh. And, come on now. Come on now. There you go. There you go. There you go. There. And that connects there. And we're going to try to do it. Come on now. Okay. There it goes. Yeah. Those two pieces, they're going to connect inside of the legs, because there's two little notches in this command deck that connect to the inside of the legs. What we're doing here is we're just kind of sliding the command deck down on its hinges so that a part of it is inside of the legs, and then the rest of this is going to fold down. And it's not the best mode. For me, it never stays together. Then again, I could be doing it completely wrong, and that's something that happens. I didn't read no instruction manual for this guy. This is just what I figured out by listening to other videos. So there we go. And we're just going to take this little hose bit, and that's going to plug into the top section here. And now we have a gun that has a trigger hole in it, and you can just kind of hold it like a crazy alien gun. Like it does remind me of things that you would find in Halo, where guns that weren't made for aliens, and you'd see Master Chief's hand holding it all awkward and weird. And that's kind of what this feels like. It's an awkward, weird hold where your pinky's kind of underneath, and you got the... but it works as a crazy sci-fi alien gun. And I do think that's a fun little mode, and I don't know why Hasbro doesn't just talk about it, because it's totally sci-fi. It doesn't need no orange tip. It's a wacky, weird gun, and it's just a fun little thing. This is a fun Transformer all in all. He does have a fun mode. He's got a lot going for him, but definitely he wasn't what I thought he may be. Now, next time we talk about Shockwave, we will be discussing him in his gun mode for Bruticus. So be sure to look out for that video whenever we finally get all the parts of Bruticus together and we discuss Bruticus in depth. I don't know about the rest of you, but I am super excited about Bruticus. Anyway, I've blathered on about this guy long enough. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't done those things already. And don't forget to comment below what's your favorite Shockwave. Like I don't care what comic or cartoon, which is your favorite Shockwave. I just want to know. Until next time, bye-bye for now.